Hello, Sammy. What a pleasant surprise to see you again.
Of course I'm here, Coach. I'm just so excited to learn more about mental toughness. After the talk we had on Saturday morning, I was able to be more mentally tough in the set that we did afterwards. I only want to keep improving.
That is awesome. That is exactly what you should be doing. Taking the things we talk about and applying them right away to your practices.
That is what I'm doing. And I do have one question though. Now that I'm more aware of my positive and negative inner coach, how do I change my negative coach to a positive one?
Great question. As you know by now, nothing good comes from being negative. You need to learn how to retrain your inner coach so that he becomes more supportive. There are 10 ways to do this.
And you're going to tell me about all 10, right?
Right. The first thing to do is keep a negativity log. For 1 week, you're going to be a reporter. Each night, sit down and jot down all the negative things you said to yourself during the day and at practices.
So I should write down the negative things I say to myself during practices and super hard sets, as well as when I'm getting ready for practice?
Correct. Allow the negative thoughts to flow and you will be surprised at how negative you are during the course of a week. That in itself will begin to cut down your negativity.
I have an idea. How about we do a victory log? I think it would be beneficial for us to write down all of the small victories we have over a negative Nelly coach. Like if I usually back down when I get tired, but today I keep working at it, I could write that down.
That is actually point number 2. If your coach says something positive to you, you could write that down as well. Remember, no victory is too small.
How many should I record?
I think 10 to 15 little victories would suffice.
Then when we're having a rough patch during the season, we can remember all the positive things we've already accomplished and have a positive outlook.
Exactly. The third thing to do is to change your negativity to positivity, is to elite the C word to build confidence.
Oh, the C word. She's a tricky one. Wait, what's the C word?
The C word is comparison. When you compare yourself to teammates or competitors at practice or during a race, you are setting yourself up for some big time failure. First of all, what others are doing is totally irrelevant to what you are doing. Next, comparisons ignore your strengths and accomplishments. Third, our interval view of a competitor is usually skewed so that they always look better than we do.
Should we keep a comparison log too?
That would be a good idea. Again, you may surprise yourself. The next thing you can practice is what I like to call making lemonade.
Does that have anything to do with the quote, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade"?
It does indeed. This adage instructs you to take the bad things that happen to you during your career and reframe them in more positive ways. Dwelling on problems will never allow you to grow as an athlete or individual.
Wow, I wish I would have known this technique before. I have a good example of something I could reframe. I could have reframed at my last swim meet. I swam awful in one of my best events. My time was so slow, you should have seen it. Anyways, I was really disappointed. But I could have reframed my thoughts to say, I can learn from what I did wrong in the race and go faster next time.
That is a perfect example. Another may be, if you're in the middle of a race and starting to hurt big time, reframe your mind to say, my body is working perfectly and I am going fast. Keep it up.
That is something that I can easily practice during practices, so I can do it even easier at meets.
Great! The fifth technique to use is to turn your negatives into positives. Remember, nothing good comes from being a negative Nelly. When you hear your negative self speaking up in practices or before a race, don't listen. Instead, get the habit of substituting 4 to 5 positive thoughts.
So the next time I say to myself, he's so much faster than me, I can replace that negative thought with things like, I've been training really well. My stroke feels good. I have a good feel for the water today. I look great in this swimsuit. I can't wait to swim fast and earn an iPhone.
Those are all great things to say to yourself. Don't be afraid to add some humor. I know you won't be.
I'm just so silly. What if I don't believe the things that I'm saying to myself?
That is perfectly fine. Just get into the habit of saying them anyways, and the belief will come later. The sixth thing is to use affirmations.
What are affirmations?
An affirmation is a positive statement that you make about yourself as if it's true right now. Affirmations, if used correctly, form powerful bridges between how you are now and how you would like to be in the future. For example, if you always die at the end of your races, an affirmation could be, as the race gets longer, I get stronger.
How about if I get too nervous before the races, I say, I'm cool and calm under the clutch.
That works too. The seventh technique is what I call affirmations and the pre-sleep technique. Every night before bed, take an affirmation you're working on now, like when I feel the pain, I start to gain, and repeat it to yourself.
Do affirmations have to rhyme?
No, but it may help if it's catchy. After the first repetition, imagine it in as much detail as possible and experience yourself getting stronger as the race progresses and pushing through the pain. Continue to do this 15 to 20 times.
What if I fall asleep after only doing it 8 times?
That is perfectly fine. The next thing to work on is mastering the last-minute negative thoughts and self-doubts.
Oh, this should be good. I always get knocked off balance before my race by last-minute negative thoughts and self-doubts.
Far too many swimmers do. You have to first understand that they are absolutely normal. Then you have to figure out that you can still have the swim of your life with last-minute negative thoughts floating through your head.
So, when negative thoughts pop in my head, should I fight them and try to be positive instead?
Actually, no. Before or during a race, you don't want to try to turn negative thoughts into positive ones because when you're thinking, you can't swim fast. Swimming fast is all about feel. You need to recognize that you're being negative and shift your focus to what is going on in your body at the moment.
That makes sense.
Good. The ninth strategy is to use humor. When you use humor, you neutralize the emotional reaction and end up staying calm and relaxed, both of which are absolutely critical to swimming fast.
The next time my negative inner coach tells me I'm going to false start, I'm going to tell him to hijack it out of here and go get a coach and watch me kick this swim's butt from the stands.
Perfect. Lastly, you need to know the signs. For example, the very first sign that you're heading down the wrong road may be when you start thinking about your competition. I've never beaten him in a race. This thought leads to, what if I lose again? I'm feeling slow today. And you see the pattern. It is critical to recognize the first sign that you're heading down the wrong road quickly and turn around and head up the right one.
That is going to help me a lot. Was that 10 already?
Yes, it was, Sammy.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go over them one more time. Number 1, keep a negativity log. Number 2, keep a victory log. Number 3, eliminate the C word. Number 4, make lemonade. Number 5, turn negatives into positives. Number 6, use affirmations. Number 7, affirmations and the pre-sleep technique. Number 8, mastering last-minute negative thoughts and self-doubts. Number 9, use humor. And number 10, know the signs.
Yep, correct, Sammy. You got them all, Sammy. The next area we are going to talk about is concentration. Concentration is the most important mental skill in mental toughness. By learning to control your concentration, you will be better to handle competitive pressure. Avoid psych-outs and intimidation, keep your self-confidence at a high level, and more consistently swim fast when it counts the most.
I know a lot about concentration. My ADHD therapist has taught me everything I need to know. This was one of my better areas on the quiz. Can I tell you what I know?
Sure thing, Sammy.
Awesome. Okay, here goes. I know that concentration is when I focus on what is important and block everything else out.
That's correct.
I did an exercise once where I took 10 markers in my hand, or in my mouth, because I don't really have hands. Then I threw them in the air at the same time and tried to catch them all. I only caught one. My therapist told me that didn't mean I couldn't concentrate. It just demonstrated that it is impossible for someone to catch all 10 because there are too many things to focus on at once.
You can only concentrate on one thing at a time.
Exactly. And if it comes down to the championship meet, and there is only one thing I can concentrate on, it better be a good one. Next, I decided I was only going to catch one marker, the pink one. I threw up all 10 again and concentrated on only getting the pink one. And I did it!
That pink marker was your focal point. Focal points can be kinesthetic or something you feel. They can be visual or something you look at. Or they can be auditory or something you listen to.
An example of a kinesthetic focal point would be the feeling of your stretch on deck as you loosen up, or the feeling of my breath going in and out. The stretch in my stroke, so I feel smooth, my kicking, and my paces are all kinesthetic points.
Those are great examples. Kinesthetic focal points are the most important ones to have during your race.
Yep. Some visual focal points would be reading a book before my race, looking down at the blocks before the official blows his whistle, and watching my hand enter the water at each stroke.
Those are good.
Auditory focal points are my favorite. A few examples of my favorite are listening to music, talking to coach or teammates before I swim, listening to my breathing, and singing to myself.
That's good that you recognize those focal points while you swim. Do you need all three kinds of focal points either before or during your races?
Absolutely not. What is important is that you develop familiar concentration targets where you can consistently put your focus both before and during your swims.
What would you say to swimmers who don't know how to concentrate?
I would say, listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is important. I have several good exercises to develop your concentration. First one, close your eyes and see the number 1 in your head. Repeat number 1 in your head. Keep inhaling and exhaling, focusing on the number 1. Keep seeing the number until your brain starts to wander. When you drift, recognize that you've lost focus and return your breathing. As you exhale, focus on the number 2. Each time you lose focus, add a number.
How long should they do this for?
Do this exercise for about 3 minutes without any distractions. Then add a radio or TV and try it for an additional 2 minutes and see how much harder it is to concentrate on that number when there is background noises.
How can they translate this into the pool?
Easily. Pick 1 or 2 kinesthetic focal points or ones that you feel and use this feeling focal point in practice to work on your recognize and return skills. For example, try to keep your focus on one feeling during a set. Every time your focus drifts to something else, catch yourself and quickly return it to that focal point feeling.
So an example may be having a fast hand recovery on backstroke.
Yep. Regular practice of this in-pool exercise will systematically train you to immediately catch and return your concentration when it drifts off in a race.
Excellent advice, Sammy.
Thanks, Giraffe Joe. My ADHD coach tells me I'm getting better all the time.
Yep, you're off to a great start.
Well, time to go to practice. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.